Hello and welcome back to another video, and in this one we've got another fantastic vintage Lego set. This one is set 6274. It's the Caribbean Clipper, released in 1989. There are 358 pieces. That's all the regular parts here, no alternatives or extras, and the 4 minifigures. It comes from the Pirates series, or Pirate sets, and the faction is the Imperial Soldiers. As per the other Lego builds, if you have a look in the playlist, there's lots of these kind of late 80s, early 90s sets in there. What we'll do is we'll have a look over the manual, just big handfuls. I will then have a look at the minifigures. I'll do a speed build, and then at the end I'll kind of slow down and we'll do a review of the final bit. So yeah, let's crack on then. So first of all, let's have a look at the manual. You can see this one's a bit battered. I don't know if the holes were standard in some of them, or whether someone's kind of hole punched these to put them in a file. But it is a complete manual. You've just got a lot of creasing just along the spine there, and kind of a bit of a tear and some creases along that bottom edge. But yeah, and then on the rear you've got that section as well. But it's not too bad, i.e. when you get inside, the condition is reasonable enough, and it's still held intact as well, so it's all together, it's not falling apart. So when we have a look here, you can see it's really just, as with most of these ships, a case of, well, in this one here we seem to be just building up the rear section first, building the remainder of the base, and then generally you just kind of work up the sides with these ones here. As you can see, a lot of time and effort just gets spent doing that, and then really you just kind of put the masts on at the end, and then right at the end it all comes together. And it kind of slows you down just when you're putting the string and stuff on. So they're relatively easy to build. You build the base, you build up the side, bit of extra work here, and then it just takes a little bit of time and effort to get that kind of string in place. So I'll try and keep the manual in shot later on when I have a bit more space on the desk. Minifigures, we get 4 of these. So you've got the captain here, looks like this, and then you have 3 of kind of just the crew people, all like that. Yeah, not too much to really mention. So what we'll do is we'll move those to one side, and I'll start on the build. Anchor's a little bit chewed just on some teeth marks, but it's still intact. So with this set you get 2 lots of the coins, so the 10, 20, 30, 40. At the time of the building I've misplaced one of the 40s, but the rest are in there. So one thing I've just noticed when building this is that be it the groove or whatever in the lower part of the mast, because obviously when you build them together there's some slots there and there's a little pin there that goes in. This is orientated to the back, as is that. When I put it in, I would expect that to kind of go straight down the ship, but you can see it's slightly angled to one side. You'd expect it to kind of almost be like this, straight on, but the slot has it a couple of degrees off to one side, maybe just a manufacturing defect. So I guess your choice is to leave it out the slot straight, or it's got a slight angle on it. Now, there's 3 of these. I think they go one there, one there, and one's going to go just flat here. This one here is a replacement one with the it has the hollow bits at the bottom as opposed to those ones there. But when you put it there in the build, you will not know the difference between that and those. One of the nice things we mentioned earlier that was offset, actually, when you put this in, it actually helps just straighten it out a little bit with some tension. Okay, this part of the build, you can see, if I just bring this up a little bit more, zoom out slightly there for you. So yeah, you can see the size of this thing now. So basically, I've built most of the ship, got this really tall mast at the front with the place for 3 sails, and then coming down there, so it's quite hard to get in shot, but so far it's been pretty good. I've got just those little bits there for the cannon, a few bits there for the minifigures. These I don't think are used, but they would have come on the get you back down there. Sorry, so what I've got left is those bits for the cannon, those for the minifigures. These would have come on the plume wheel, I don't think they're required. And then these need to go somewhere at some point. I've also got those. Cannonballs all just go in the bottom, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm hoping I'm going to spot where, if and when they're needed. And then I've also got the flags to pop on at the end, slightly creamy, just I had that reaction with the sun over time. This one's not as bad, but a little bit creamy on that one. And got the flags, the sails, which are all in good condition. Tiny amount of fraying just on the edges, tiny amount of discoloration, but actually quite good nick. So that's where I'm up to with the build so far. Flags and the string that I'm about to do now. It's quite a long piece of string. Pop the sails on at the end, pop these in. So these are my only things that I hope are gonna show themselves shortly. There's a tiny knot in one end of this string. I don't mind that because because basically it'll stop it fraying. I'm not going to. I wouldn't snip that off or try and undo it. And because it can go through this section, that's all that matters. Because then you just do the standard, just simple tie off on here. So one thing I'm noticing on the flag on here is it is holding on there, but it's just it's the lightest of grip. So you can see there, there's a little bit of a click. So what I'd suggest is, if and when you build this, just maybe put a little bit of something, a bit of blue tack or something in there, just to give it a little bit of extra bite. Because I suspect if I knock that putting a sail on, it might fall off. Okay, so we've got to that part in the video where I'm having that thinks bubble because I've done all of this, but I have still missed a couple of parts. So I've missed somewhere, I'd say a couple. I've got some 8s there, a 3 and 2 blocks. So I mean, it looks fairly straightforward. I mean, I would have thought the 8s might have been on the sails, but I thought I built the sails correctly. Now, one thing I've also just noticed is on some of the longer 10s, 1x10s, they have the hollow ones. That's a slightly later version. You can see them on there as well. So the 1x10s have the hollow base stud. Okay, I was right. So they were missing from there. So stick those back on. Right, so that now leaves us just with this and these two. Okay, so I've had a good look and I can't find where these ones go. This is the problem when you're doing a speed build, because often you're looking a couple of stages ahead just to try and make the video more slick. You're not, scrutinizing each page as you go along. Yeah, I don't know whether that would just be, I don't know whether they go together somewhere, maybe like this, or whether these are just kind of a little bit that would go on either side, and then maybe this one, reinforces something somewhere. I can't quite find it. So they'll be to one side, and we'll move on to the review. The build took around an hour and a half. I made a couple of mistakes in places, just with some positioning of blocks. There wasn't something overly clear down here. But other than that, it was quite a simple, enjoyable build. What I really like, and I'm really struggling to show it within the video, is the size at the front. So this unique design with having all the sails here as this clipper rather than one of the traditional ships certainly gives it a different look. So yeah, I like the variation they've brought in with those sails. At the same time, do I prefer it? Probably not. I like the ones with the sails here and the sails there, because I think it gives it more of an overall look when you've got them. But I do like the variation that they've brought in here. Also, because the other ships you get 4 cannons, whereas on this you just get the 2 that you then have to kind of reposition. And I think if you're going to provide 4 portholes, then just provide 4 cannons. So yeah, I would do that. In terms of the interior here, it's a little bit bare. You've got the chest and stuff just down there at the back. But yeah, not too much really going on here, with an awful lot of it kind of just shunted to the front with these. And then, interestingly here, where this lifts up into that small area, you're kind of getting in around the masts and stuff, and things are getting in the way. So part of me thinks it would have been a little bit better to build this, to have the mast area here, and then this section here with the kind of hidden area, possibly to maybe put it here instead, towards the rear where there's a lot more space, as you can see. So look at all that room there, and then it's down in there with like the weapons and stuff at the front. Some of the larger ships you can also open the rear to gain access into that cabin area. Here it's got a similar look, so you've got that rear section that's always really nice, but then you have no real way to access things other than putting your hand into the front. A little crowded up at the top as well. It sounds like I'm being downtrodden on it. I'm not. It's a nice build. I like it. I just think the execution could have been a tiny bit better. So, final summary. Yeah, it was an hour to an hour and a half. Fun to build. I like the flags and stuff like this. I think they could have improved the storage area here, maybe add in an extra couple of cannons. Keep this design because it's nice. Plenty of weaponry, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that was the 6274 Caribbean Clipper, released in 1989. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And until the next one, all the best, take care, and see you.